Greetings and salutations, time travelers. Today, I got bored, and I wanted to build a starter home from ancient Mesopotamia.
Of course, I know what Mesopotamia is. It's gonna be crazy. Look, there's Mesopotamia.
Because, why not? I've always wanted to do the 100 baby challenge, but being me, I needed to make it, 1, historical, and 2, way more difficult than it needs to be. So, in the name of as much accuracy as I could get with no mods out of The Sims, I put a few challenges on this lot. So first off, it's off the grid, because electricity. It's a relatively new feature. Next up, I made it an earthquake zone, because I know that ancient Mesopotamia had a thing with flooding, so I couldn't find a flooding option, so I was like, earthquakes. That sounds like a natural disaster. Close enough. So, made it an earthquake zone, and I also put in gremlins, because wars, they happened a lot. Raiding, that was a thing. There's not a button for that in The Sims. But gremlins break stuff, and they do it in the dead of night, and they make your life incredibly difficult. What is history if not difficult? So gremlins. I also made it one of those lots where you have to, buy all the ingredients to cook. I've never used that one before. It came with cottage living. But I did that, so let's see if I come to regret it later in life. But yeah, that was the thought process. Because it's a starter home, I wanted to make it under $20,000, and I wound up building this little house to be about $26,000, or sorry, 26 simoleons. So after I was done building, I had to go through and delete some things, which you'll see in the screenshots. Mostly I tried to stick with stuff that wouldn't be missed too bad. The artwork on the walls, a couple lamps, most of the rugs. Kinda had to go, but just about everything that was big stayed, with the exception of the chicken coop. That one hurt. R.I.P. the chicken coop. But otherwise, yeah, it all seems to have survived and weathered the storm. So when I was researching ancient Mesopotamian architecture, I went to our good old friend Wikipedia the Great and Powerful, and I learned some things. First off, bricks. Everything was pretty much made out of bricks. Stone, wood, they were accessories, not the main building material. So I tried to find a brick wallpaper that kind of worked. The one I chose I'm okay with. I wished I could find it in a more sandy-ish color, but I'm not mad at it. I also made the inside walls plastered because that was a thing, but I wanted the outside since this is supposed to be a starter home and kind of the poorer area of people who still owned houses but were not the richy rich. I let the brick be exposed because I figured why would you pay to plaster both sides of a wall when one would do. I learned that they liked to paint the inside of the walls, and they like to make their houses very colorful with artwork, so I hung up some of those stone artwork pieces from Jungle Adventure. They wound up getting deleted, but they looked really cool. So maybe once your Sims start making a little bit of Sims cash, they can buy them back. They looked very nice. Mesopotamia means the land between the two rivers, which would be the Tigris and the Euphrates.
Euphrates River, by the Euphrates River, by the Euphrates River.
So I tried to put a little river irrigation thing around the house, especially the little garden plots I put in. I think it looks pretty nice. But if you're wondering why there's a lot of random messing around with the pond tool, that's what it was. They also were really big into urban planning in ancient Mesopotamia, but I just kind of got a generalized page about the architecture, so I'm not sure how much it varied from city to city, though I'm sure it did because people be individuals. But it looks like people just kind of built their houses on their own time, not like really big into the city planning, but they were really close together. So there weren't any exterior walls, but there was usually like an inner courtyard that the windows would open into so that you could kind of have like an air conditioning effect. I did not do that. Mostly because I was already like halfway through building when I learned that fact and I couldn't be bothered to change it. But just so you know, they had figured out the basics of, natural air conditioning in ancient Mesopotamia, so yay for them. Points to planning. And that's kind of all I have to really say about it. It was pretty, it's kind of like your basic little home. I did make this little covered area over off of the side because I have heard that hospitality was a very important thing in the ancient world, and I made this little overhang area because if guests come by to visit, that's where you might want to sit. I also put this little knitting basket down because I figured if you're going to use it for the 100 Baby Challenge, you have to, according to the rules, work from home. You can't have a job outside of the home. Initially, my brain was like, oh, weaver, perfect. Single woman, weaving, that would be the perfect ancient equivalent of a stay-at-home job. But we don't have a loom, sadly. I wish we had a loom. Oh my god, I would love a loom so much. Sims team, if you're listening, give me a loom. But we don't, so I put the knitting basket down because I was like, you can knit clothes with that. That's close enough. Welcome to your ancient world knitting community. Should have been a loom. So yeah, I'm gonna shut up now, let the pretty music play, and enjoy the build. Hope you like it. Farewell, friends.